news coming out all over the place. Tom Brady yelling at people saying, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm Tom Brady. Then you have Aaron Rodgers being like, yeah, go ahead, trade me. And Derek Carr's already out. So, landing spots for these guys. We'll start with Rodgers since, I don't know if he leaves, but I get a good feeling. I think he's on his way out. Where do you guys want to see him? Connor, you can go first.
Man, I think no matter what, these vets have to go to a playoff contender. And I think, as crazy as it sounds, the most natural fit is New York, the Jets, man. You have an owner who came out and said, I'll basically pay whatever. Tried to do this, remember this, tried to do this with Favre. Okay, I saw an analyst say this today. Was 8-3 with Favre. Favre got hurt that year, and they ended up 9-7 and missed the playoffs. So it isn't like they didn't try this in the past, and then all of a sudden it didn't work. It was probably going to work. I think they could do the same with Aaron Rodgers. I don't think you get to the 8-3, Aaron Rodgers gets hurt. You got a GM, an owner, and probably a coach that would be all for it. This is a win-now team. You have a guy who is probably going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year tonight or whatever. Actually, I don't know when he got voted in, so he's top 3. I would say he'll probably, I don't know. They got recency bias with the Brock Purdy thing. I don't know why he's even in it, but it's either him or Kenneth Walker. You've got a guy who is begging, Elijah Moore, who we were, by the way, Scouts honor, we were very high on early on in the season. Should have been. He should have a resurgence in his career. And you have Breece Hall. I mean, those are weapons upon weapons upon weapons upon weapons. Yeah. And you have 2 of the top corners, a guy who's probably Defensive Rookie of the Year, definitely going to be Defensive Rookie of the Year, could probably be top 5 in Defensive Player of the Year if he was in it. You can win now. I definitely think I want to see Aaron Rodgers just because he's a diva. Owners will bow to him. He's got everything in place for them to win now. He's got like 2-year window. Might as well.
You want a legacy bump, right? You go to you win you win a Super Bowl for the Jets. Anthony, what are you thinking?
I like that. I like him going to the Jets. I don't know if he wants to go to the AFC though. I think the ideal spot for him, I don't know what it's looking like cap room wise in San Fran. I think the Niners would be a fantastic fit for him because that offense is crazy loaded and that defense is the best defense he would ever be on the other side of the ball for. And you know what? That was his biggest rival in the playoffs for so long, the Niners. To play for them, I think that would be tough. I mean, that's a Super Bowl ready team now. They're on their way if they can just get past the Eagles, who are scary. But if they lose to the Eagles here, it gives them a reason to go, hey, we need Rodgers. We need him. So that's my thoughts. I don't know. That's kind of fantasy land, but I kind of want to just see Rodgers either retire or stay in Green Bay because I'm a big Rodgers denier, not a big Rodgers fan. So I hope he just retires, goes to Hawaii, and just does his psychedelics.
All right, I'm gonna flip through some teams that I think would be great fits. Number 1 is a team I love and I'm super biased for, and that's the Commanders. But you talk about a team that's win now ready. You have Jahan Dotson, you have Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, and then you even have Denami Brown, who's like a really good burner that I think would go well with Rodgers, kind of in the MVS kind of vein. And then you have a fantastic defense and one of the best defensive fronts in football. If they had like functioning quarterback play, they would have been great this year. Unfortunately, they didn't get that as much as we like Taylor Heineke. He did not provide. And then I forgot about the other NFC team, but the Cowboys. That's who it was. Yeah, we just saw Dak Prescott completely like choke away the NFC NFC playoffs for them. You can get the same thing out of Rodgers, but have a little bit more hope. And lastly, the Miami Dolphins. Tua is just, it's not safe for him. I don't I don't trust him playing football anymore. And if you give me Aaron Rodgers and those speed receivers, they wanted Tom Brady last year. Why not go get Aaron Rodgers this year? So I think those are 3 solid landing spots for him.
Okay, but all right, realistically, non-Green Bay, where is he going? Do you honestly think that these are pipe dreams here? There's a difference between pipe dreams and realistic. And I would like the Niners. I think that would be another win now team. But these dudes are living in recency bias. Okay, so they are living in the whole offensive rookie of the year thing is a total recency bias play for Brock Purdy. The guy played 6. I'm not convinced yet that he is. Do I think he's a serviceable QB? Yes. Do I think that he's a guy that's going to long term be the answer? I think he's still a couple years away before you can even make that decision. Guys are like, oh, they should trade Trey Lance. They should go out and forget about getting Tom Brady, forget about getting Aaron Rodgers. I'm like, I'm not convinced that that's the answer either. The only way that happens is if he wins a Super Bowl now. And even then, I still wouldn't, but you can't go against public relations. He'll win. If he wins a Super Bowl, Trey Lance is out, Rodgers is done, he's going to get an extension, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, it's kind of like the when the Eagles won it with Nick Foles. I mean, they weren't like Nick Foles is the guy. It was kind of just like a lucky write-off. The only thing that Purdy really has going for him is that he's on an insane win streak. Like he has a little bit more of a resume than what Nick Foles had. So it's
plus, Trey Lance didn't look great.
I mean, this will segue into the next piece, the next question in terms of college quarterbacks. If you can be patient with Trey Lance, you're going to do the same thing with a guy named Anthony Richardson next year. I mean, like Trey had some very, very good. I mean, you watch him and he has crazy highlights for athleticism. Fine. But he showed the ability to throw the ball and throw the ball well at times. He just made stupid decisions. You know who else does that? Justin Fields. Justin Fields does that. But then you take the upside of 1,100 rushing yards, and then all of a sudden now you go, maybe if I would give somebody who's not named, I don't know, Schmillip Small on the outside wide receiver for the Chicago Bears, maybe Justin Fields would be a good quarterback. Maybe. I don't know. So you can play that game and the upside game, or you can go out and get someone. I don't know what the right answer is, but you're going to deal with this again next year with Anthony Richardson. I'm telling you.
All right. So let's go on to our next quarterback before we get to rookies. Derek Carr. Or let's go Tom Brady. He hasn't said yes to this, but it's pretty set. Like, the Raiders are where he's going. And do you guys have any other thoughts?
Tom Brady had some clickbait today. He was in Miami looking at schools for his elementary school. So
because did you know that Giselle is the one with the kids?
I said clickbait, Phil. You took the bait too. Jeez Louise.
No, I didn't, because I didn't click. I just shut you down because I knew that beforehand.
I clicked it.
So I watched your favorite Fox Sports guy, Nick Wright, today.
Oh my gosh!
And that, by the way, I got this TV package the other day, and I just started. I'm like, what's on Fox Sports? And I'm like, wow, this show is rough. I was watching. I'm like, a lot of bad takes on this, but I
loved Chris Broussard. I thought he was one of the best basketball analysts until he went on that show. Then they're like, all right, dude, do what Nick Wright does.
Yeah, they're like, and they just argue the whole time. But they had like a portion about Tom Brady, and they're like, is he going to go to Detroit? You know, he played for Michigan. And I'm like, dude, it would be awesome to see Tom Brady go to Detroit, and if Rodgers stayed in Green Bay and Brady win one in Detroit if Rodgers was still in Green Bay. I would die if that happened. I would be like, that would make my day. Because
Detroit. Detroit's not even that. Again, that is like a clickbait show. That's like a Skip Bayless thing.
I know. It's like there's no way. I think he's definitely not in Tampa. It's Miami. It's the Raiders. I mean, even you could throw a San Fran in there, but I don't know. If I'm the Raiders, you could do a lot better than Tom Brady. No offense to him. I just
what's better? Is it Derek Carr or is it Jarrett Stidham?
No, I don't know what it is, but it's not 46-year-old Tom Brady.
All right. You have any take on landing spots, Connor?
I mean, same situation as Roger, but Tom doesn't necessarily care about like owners and fan bases loving him like Aaron Rodgers and worshiping him. He doesn't care about that. Part of me thinks it's going to be the Raiders because of McDaniels, and I don't know if that's just a total like McDaniels trying to save his career. Because guess what? If he misses again, he's going to get fired. I understand that the Raiders are cash poor and they can't fire him because they can't pay him. Fine. So what's he doing? Is he reaching out to Tom and going for Tom because, hey, at least I'll probably win games, and at a minimum, if Tom retires, I'll still get another year on my contract because he'll have probably a winning season enough to, keep my job for a longer. I don't know if it's that selfish, but Raiders are farther away from a championship than people want to admit. Their defense is god awful. So that's fine. And I also saw today cap casualties. Waller and Renfro are potential cap casualties, even though they just signed both of them to extensions. So who do you have? Devontae? Also saw Devontae maybe calling up Aaron Rodgers and saying, hey, come on over to Raiderland. Maybe, but again, how'd that work out? Seriously, how'd that work out? You pay a lot to Devontae and you pay a lot to Aaron Rodgers, and then nothing is left, and then you go to the playoffs, and then you go out. Then you suck. Nobody wins championships.
Yeah, that's all Aaron Rodgers' fault because he sucked. If he was actually a reasonable quarterback, that's a different topic. Anyways, last guy, Derek Carr. Is there anywhere you want to see him? He's another guy on my Commanders. I would love him. I think if he goes to the NFC, this is going to sound hot, but he's probably like a top 5 quarterback in the NFC because there's not many good ones. Assuming Brady leaves, I'll give you Rodgers can stay. But I think he's like a top 5 quarterback in the NFC. And that's, like I said, one of the best receiving cores that you could have in the NFC. The NFC is really bad on offense, if you guys haven't noticed.
I mean, so Derek Carr passes for a lot of yards. He can throw the ball and throw the ball well. He's got a bunch of fourth quarter comebacks in his career. I mean, the guy is a good quarterback. You need some help around him. So I think Carolina's out. I think they may pursue him, but I think
Carolina's drafting 9th. They're going to get Richardson.
I think they're going to draft someone and have Sam be a bridge for 5 games, and then whoever comes in. I was just thinking about this earlier today, and I was like, man, what about the Titans? What about the Titans if they go out and get Hopkins? They're rumored to be interested in Hopkins. They have Treylon Burks. They've got Derrick Henry. Yes, I get it. Derrick Henry's going to be 29. However, I've decided to stop betting against Derrick Henry because the guy is just 1,600 yards no matter what. He's going to be 35, and he's going to be given 1,600 yards. Vrabel is staying. They have a new GM. That's a dark horse there. I wonder because I don't think they're convinced in Tannehill. I just don't. Now, that could be a function of you got to see who goes there first as their offensive coordinator. You got to see who goes there first if they get another wide receiver and what they do in the draft. I don't know why, but that's a dark horse candidate. Total shot in the dark that the Titans could end up with Derek Carr.
That seems like it just fits so well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Him and Vrabel, I feel like he's a Vrabel guy. Now, however, wild card, if any of the rumors are true that he can't take tough coaching because McDaniels just put him out on Front Street when he screwed up. He said he's not going to get into a spat. Like that supposedly was one of the reasons. He just came out and said, hey, I'm moving on. Raiders were good to me. I'm moving on. I'm not going to address the can't be coached hard stuff. I don't know.
Dan Campbell, I feel, is a hard coach, but a coach that people can play for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, anyways, Anthony, what are your thoughts? Derek Carr.
The only other, I agree with all those spots. The only other spots, maybe the Giants. I don't think the Giants are completely set on Danny Dimes.
Correction, they shouldn't be completely.
They really shouldn't be. It's tough because there's nobody there to throw the ball to. Really, you have a couple.
Kenny
guys.
Galladay, you're a big Lions fan.
Love me some Kenny Galladay. He was only 80 receptions short of his.
I think there was one year, the year it had to be his last year in Detroit, where you drafted him second in our fantasy league.
It was really high. In
second round,
leagues.
First pick in the second round.
Not proud, but yeah, either there. Either New York team. I could see him going to the Jets, but I would like to see him more for like the Jets, just because they have more weapons around them. And for the Giants, Giants, it's like all coaching right now. That's what's working for them. They have a solid defense, Saquon, but I don't know. I don't know what the Giants plan on doing. That's a organization that's just like, hey, we're really happy we made the playoffs, won a game, and we're just gonna go into next season and kind of just roll the dice with what we have. They're in a really tough spot because it's kind of like where the Browns were at with Baker, where they were like, we don't really want to pay this guy. But